Hey guys, it's Bree, and today's quick spoiler-free review is going to be of a non-fiction memoir that is perfect for murderinos if you're way into true crime. This is actually a really unique book that I'm happy I picked up. It was actually just re-released this past year. So, let's pull up the full title so I can get that right for you. It is The Phantom Prince, My Life with Ted Bundy, written by Elizabeth Kendall, and her daughter Molly Kendall is contributing. So who is Elizabeth Kendall? She is the long-term girlfriend of Ted Bundy in the 70s. If you don't know who Ted Bundy is, he's a prolific serial killer that was most active in the 70s, West Coast, primarily Washington, and he ended his killing spree in Florida. So she is the woman that he was dating for much of this time. They were together for quite a few years, and she writes what it was like to be in love with this monster. And her book is only just over 200 pages, and it has family photos because he was with her when she had her young daughter as well. So you get to see this oddly normal portrayal of him. And in her introduction, she fully admits that she was still in love with Ted when she wrote this book. And then in her afterward, she explains she's not anymore, and she kind of cringes reading back certain sections. But it's that honesty of she was really in love with this man, but she also was afraid of him. And she reported him several times to the police thinking that he may be the killer. She didn't want him to be by any means, but she thought he could be, that there were too many similarities to just ignore it. And it was weighing very heavy on her conscience. And this book ended up being really good, actually. I was kind of surprised. I've read a few Ted Bundy books, being from the Northwest. There's that Natural Curiosity. He killed women who were generally college age, straight hair, pretty young women, and he killed quite a few of them. And just reading her account of, she was jealous, and she was his girlfriend. She was jealous of other women. She worried he was cheating, which he was not faithful, and just how much she loved him, but then how much she started to become afraid of him. And this book actually gave me nightmares because she's very honest in her writing, and I actually really enjoyed. It's a very fast read, just over 200 pages. I think without the pictures, the Kindle edition was like 197 pages, and it goes up to 220 with the photos, which are cool to see because they're not something I normally would see. This has a lot to do with, if you've seen the Netflix movie starring Zac Efron and Lily Collins, that's this story. They're that couple. And the other cool part, because this was originally published in the 80s, this is the new edition, came out 2020, I believe, and she has kind of added notes of how her views have changed, dealing with the issues that come with gaslighting, which is to kind of explain it simply, is the psychological abuse of making your victim believe that they are going crazy. Even though the thing is really happening, you make them believe it's not. That was kind of Ted's game, was to do that with her and make her feel like she was going insane. And that's unfortunate, but also it's a really honest look at what their relationship was like. I also really like the fact that Molly, the daughter, she was 12 when he was caught in Florida, so she was quite young at this time. She writes her own edition at the very end of the book, talking about her mom really loved Ted, and she remembers liking him as a kid, but she can't feel anything like that anymore. And there's some information about how he was to her that maybe a lot of people don't know. He definitely wasn't perfect by any means in his behavior towards her. So it's a very interesting, very honest look between a mother and daughter at this person that was a huge part of their life for so many years. People thought Ted was Molly's dad. He was not. Elizabeth thought she was going to marry him. And it's really a cool book to check out if you're into true crime, if you're into murderino type things, or if you're just curious about Ted Bundy. This is a different side, and it's totally different than the book I have by Anne Rule, who was a crime writer, but she was friends and worked with Ted at a suicide hotline. She had more of a tangential relationship with him, whereas Elizabeth was practically living with him at times and putting him through college and stuff like that. So this is a really interesting book. I definitely recommend it. I actually enjoyed it way more than I thought I was going to. It's available. My library had it through Libby, and it's got a cool picture on the front of them together, and it's super interesting if you're into that sort of thing. So definitely be aware when you're reading it. It can get kind of creepy. I had some weird nightmares from that book because it just is so, I don't know if it's intentional, but she builds up the tension very well, and what it was like there towards the end before he got caught and she realized he really was the monster that they were worried he might be. So yeah, check it out. Let me know if you like it, if you've read it, maybe not. And happy reading, guys.